Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I'd like to have a warm welcome to you all to the European Innovation Days. I'm really honored and happy to be addressing you, my experienced colleagues who have brought the industry here with long years of hard work. So, I will start from this point where you have brought with a very typical subject, which my fellow colleague, Mr. Alan Davey, just a minute ago in his wonderful presentation, stressed out that they are already doing an aggressive program on weight reduction and downgauging. So I'd like to sum up and give information about this downgauging opportunities, which you like the word a lot, opportunities in the downgauging business. First of all, let me introduce myself. I am Yavuz EROGLU from SEM Plastik, which is mainly active on the food packaging. We are doing rigid food packaging items with injection molding and mainly thermoforming. We do mainly cups and containers, serving food business, and also we do food service items, disposables for the fast food industry in Turkey. We have 2 plants in Turkey. So, first of all, we all know the meaning of downgauging, weight reduction. So there is a lot of things we can say about the downgauging. The main thing that we can say it is reducing the amount of material in a product while not altering the end quality, which means still maintaining or even improving the properties of that material. So it's a challenge. So it's a two-way thing. First, we have to be reducing. The other side, we have to be maintaining and even improving. So we know that these things, making downgauging, has been one of the key issues for the last 20 years of the industry, because sustainability issue has become more critical in the last 20 years as the scarce sources of the world pushed us and even the customers, the consumers, to be more aware about these subjects. And these subjects has even gone to a point, to an extent, that even not downgauging, even reduction of packaging, which my colleague has even asked, which is a wrong issue, because if you concern the cost of the packaging and the cost of saving the food, it has gone to this point. So we know that there is a lot of things done in these 20 years. There are some figures what is done with the last 20 years about reducing yogurt tubs and how many percent we have done, 27%, PET bottles, yogurt cups from 12 grams to 7 grams. So it's a lot of things we have done. But let's put it this way. The main idea in cost reduction, the main idea is cost reduction in weight reduction. So we want to reduce the weight because we want to have cost reduction. The other point is the sustainability issue. We want to make a more sustainable product because the consumers request from us more sustainable and green products. So, and why do they request that? Because they know, and we all know, that the sources of our world is scarce and it's getting less. While this is going less, we have the population of the world increasing. By 2050, we are going to have something around 9 billion humans living on this planet. So we know that unrenewable sources like oil will be less and less abundant that we can find in these years, in the coming years. That's why the price of these non-renewable sources is steadily going up. Although for some weeks it's changing because of some volatility, but we know that on the long run the prices of the oil will be going up. And we are mainly depending on oil for our production. Even though we consume 4% of the world's oil as plastics, in our business we are dependent on the cost, mainly also on the oil price. And we know that the oil price is going to increase. So that's an important issue. And while we are here for the European Innovation Days, we know that in Europe we don't have oil sources. Europe is not so lucky, also my country, which is very close to the Middle East, Turkey. Unfortunately, we are one of the unlucky ones. Even though we are close to this region, we don't have oil. So if we don't have oil, weight reduction should be an important issue for us, more than the guys that has the oil, because they already have some part of the cost that they have, which they can adjust in their home market. So we have to find a way, which is one of the important issues in our cost, oil, that we can be producing plastics, we can be converting plastics without the plastics, with less plastics. So that is weight reduction. This is another perspective that we can look at the weight reduction. So when we look at our packaging issues, when we write down our cost, the first cost in most of the businesses, especially in packaging, would be the raw material cost. And then you would have the energy, labor, etc., etc. So oil cost is so important, and the plastic raw material cost, we need to make downgauging to be competitive. We know that if we can do downgauging, then what will happen? Then the main competition with our competitors, if you are looking at the Far East side of the story, still now they can get cheaper raw material than Europe, and everybody knows this in this room. Because of the market conditions here and there, different situation, it's sometimes changing, small changes that sometimes it's Europe, sometimes, very rarely, happens that, like these days when you have the Euro 1.24, sometimes it happens, but this is good occasions, very small times. Normally, because they are spot markets, compared to Europe, they have cheaper raw material prices. So, to be better on costing, it's important that the raw material piece of the cost is less. This will give us a competitive edge. So, and we know that downgauging needs technology and know-how. This is something positive if you look at the competitive case to this story, because we know that the products coming from abroad, generally, they have problem of downgauging. I mean, if they want to make a proper product with a downgauge thing, they will have a lot of problems. We know that they are using a lot of recycled materials, and to use recycled materials, you have to have also a good technology to have downgauging and weight reduction. So, why I explain this, I want to put that downgauging is also a fact that it's an opportunity for Europe, because in Europe there is technology that it can be possible to downgauge better than the others, and this would give a competitive edge, and it will also give a competitive edge against imported products, because we know that when the percent of the raw material in a product is less, and the most of it comes from the energy cost, comes from the other costs, which we know that this industry is mainly automized industry, you don't have a lot of labor in these productions, then the imported products, because of the logistics, for example, if you are loading a container from Far East to here, it will be much more than a product which is high weight, less competitive than the product here. So, and also we know that downgauging needs close contact with the brand owner, because brand owners generally push the plastic producers, converters, for downgauging. Sometimes we do it for the cost, we bring it on the table, but most of the times when we are talking about brand owners, they would like to have lower cost and green products, and they bring it on the table. So it means that downgauging also makes the relation with the brand owners better. So it means that it's a chance that to hold the brand owners in the European market better and more safe in our hands. So it needs higher standards, higher environmental regulations, and culture. So this is why I wanted to explain in this point why downgauging would be beneficial for our business. So for this beneficial thing, what we have to do, we have to have a combination of a lot of things. I told that it's technology, but there is a lot of things that we have to combine together to have a good downgauging. First of all, we start with the raw material, because raw materials is an important part of the downgauging. For a good raw material, you need to have a good petrochemical plant, good technology in the petrochemical plant. You need to have good catalysts. I will explain this. We know that now more and more low weight products are possible with metallocene catalyst that's put inside a lot of raw materials. So catalyst is one of the important issues when you want to have a good raw material that's possible to go down with the weight. You have to have fillers and fibers. That's also we're going to explain, which is going to have good effect on downgauging. colorants is also important in the downgauging. Additives, nucleating agents, and there you have the right material for downgauging. So it's a complete cycle that you have to have a right raw material that we can convert to a downgauge weight reducted product. So for the polymers, the most important thing is the polymer design. That's what we don't do, but we get from our suppliers. But we have to be on hand with our raw material suppliers that we can do some downgauging. The polymer structure is important. I'm not going to go to very much chemistry. I myself is not a chemist, by the way. But we know that, just as an example, homopolymers are stiffer than random copolymers. This is an issue, but there is a lot of things that we can discuss under this one. Other thing is polymer chain interaction. For example, the hydrogen bonding. Just to give you a small example, in nylon, where interchain hydrogen bonding is dominant, the material has been higher mechanical thermal resistance than PP, where the interaction is interaction. It's a different kind of, there's no hydrogen interaction in this one. So even we say that right raw material is important, to make a right downgauge product, we have to have right raw materials. As we can see the carbon footprint of different products, and we know from the good presentation that the cheaper one is the best one. We can see here, it's still the same issue. We can see the carbon footprint of different items, including the material production, forming, transportation, and disposal. So we can see more detail here of different raw materials that we can use in our production for packaging that has the total carbon footprint in a different way. So when we are also choosing the material, our main aim is the weight reduction, reducing the cost and reducing the sustainability, or better sustainability, then these issues will be one of the key points that we have to choose our material. And also one more issue is the simple physics, is the density. When you're talking of weight reduction or downgauging, density is one of the most important things. It is the first starting point of the thing. So if you are using a material which has a low density, then it will be much more easier to have low weight product. This is one case. So you have even the price, some rough price comparison in meter cube per euro. So just to make one of the things here from sample come out, that polyolefins are very attractive here, we see. Resin formulation. This is important because you have the standard resins, but we know that now more and more additives can be put inside our polymers in the petrochemical plants that will make us easy to reduce the weight for downgauging. And so, for example, is advanced nucleators. We know very well from the industry that thermoforming, with the help of nucleators, there has been a lot of change in the industry, including, first it started with the transparency of the PP, then it came more the stiffness, which allow us to have more downgauge products, even with the higher mechanical properties. So when we do, as an example of downgauging in nucleated, we know that there is no loss in the impact strength, even some gains in some of them. Shorter cycle times, this is something to do with the sustainability, due to the higher crystallization temperature. Improved clarity due to the nucleator and downgauging, increased thermal resistance, and improvement in the aesthetics. So this is just a small thing to show how it works. We all know it mainly. It's about, for instance, an example of a nucleating agent working in a polypropylene material, how it reacts and how it makes the material. We see that normal PP we have in the nucleation phase is just going on, and you have some crystalline areas. This is both making the haze in the PP, semi-crystalline product, and at the same time, if you look at the mechanical properties, it gives the mechanical properties, what we have of the standard PP. But when we nucleate it, we make more crystalline areas, but smaller ones. So we have even a better product with transparency, aesthetic.